Guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. I thought it would be a good opportunity to show you guys some of my favorite vintage dinosaur figures and review them for you, and that is the Castagna line. Now, I don't know for sure if I actually said the name of the company correctly, because I'm not too familiar with the company, but they did produce these really beautiful vintage dinosaur figures, and I believe it was back in, it says it on the underside here, actually, it's upside down for the date, 1988, you can see there. So quite a ways back. And that's around the time that we still assumed that dinosaurs look like big, giant, dumb lizards wandering around in swamps. And that's pretty much what you see here with this version of their Brontosaurus. And I think it looks extremely, extremely nice. An absolutely beautiful version of a vintage Brontosaurus. I've been a huge fan of these figures. I actually have 3 of them, and I've been a huge fan for years. I have this, the Triceratops, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I will be reviewing all 3 of them. Today we will focus on this one, of course, and then do the others later on. There is actually a Pteranodon as well. I don't know if that is the end of the line, but I don't have that Pteranodon quite yet. Definitely hoping to get it at some point and review that one as well. But again, this one looks absolutely beautiful in every possible way as far as the vintage appearance to a Brontosaurus or Apatosaurus looks. It is just absolutely gorgeous as far as I'm concerned, and really pretty much perfectly represents the look of this dinosaur from when I was a child looking at it in books and things like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt, you can see that the head sculpt is really, really nice. Has that very gentle giant look to it, but also kind of that I'm a dumb giant lizard type of a look. But it really does look absolutely beautiful if you ask me. And you can see a really nicely painted eye with like a yellowish coloration and then a black pupil. And you can see that the eyes are actually glossed. So they do look really cool. The head starts with like a dark greenish coloration and then transitions to a really nice lighter kind of like a white coloration for the actual face. And you can see it's also been given a nice dark wash with a brownish coloration. And it sort of sticks out in certain areas on the face, like the lower jaw, you can see it there, but not too much. But I think it is absolutely beautiful the way that this is painted and sculpted. You can see the ear actually back there, right in the back of the head of our dinosaur. And then as we start to lead down the neck, you can see some kind of creases and stuff, some really nice skin texture, and you can see just how beautiful like the twisting of the skin there is portrayed with the dinosaur having its head turned in this direction. It looks absolutely beautiful the way that skin detail is sculpted out. And the figures are almost like a ceramic type of a feel. So it's very interesting the way that these were made, and I think they are absolutely awesome as far as portraying that beautiful vintage look of a dinosaur. And you can see it has kind of like a little bit of extra hanging skin there in the throat, but you can also get a good sense of the twisting of the skin in the neck on this side, and you can really see how nice that beautiful, very vibrant green is, but at the same time it's a very nice dark tone to the figure. As we start to move down the neck, you can continue to see lots of really nice creases in the skin here on the underside, and also a mixture of that nice dark brown wash with that nice white coloration. And look how smooth the transition is from under the neck up here to the top of the neck between those colors. You can see it go from like this whitish coloration to like a little hint of brown and then to that green. It looks incredibly nice. As we get down here into the base of the neck, you can continue to see lots of really nice wrinkles in the skin. And then once we get here into the body, you can sort of pick up on the shoulder blade a little bit there. Really beautiful skin creasing going on right there again. As we move down into the foot, you can see that it has that really nice greenish coloration to it, but also has kind of like some browns and stuff creeping through, so it has a very, very realistic appearance to it. As far as the skin tone goes, you can see the feet are all sculpted really nicely, beautifully sculpted out toenails, which are kind of the same coloration as the base, but I don't know if they're meant to actually be painted or if they're just meant to look like the base. I don't really know, but regardless, I think it looks quite nice. You come back up here into the stomach region, you can again see that nice whitish coloration kind of runs all the way up through the stomach, almost up to the back, so it gives it a little bit of really nice light color variation in the stomach region, but with that nice brown wash, so it has like tones of color to it. And again, you can see some browns creeping in here and there throughout the dinosaur. You have that nice green up here on the top. You can kind of make out like the spinal column as we run down along the dinosaur here. And then we get back to the rear leg, really nice creasing in the skin right there. And you can actually see just in general like the skin kind of scrunching and bunching up here as both of these legs are pushing into the stomach. So I really like that as well. You can see some nice muscle tone here in the thigh of the rear leg. Beautiful kneecap present there. Very nice foot sculpt here on the rear foot as well. And then we move up here into the tail. Again, some more nice creasing in the skin and some very nice skin texture as we move out the length of the tail. And then you can see down here, actually says 1990, but the underside says 1988. So I don't know exactly when this was made. I'm assuming actually 1990 if that's actually sculpted into the base. That makes more sense. But you can see how nice the color variation is within the tail as well. Beautifully sculpted, and it comes down, of course, into the dragging on the tail position, and it looks great the way it's just kind of laying there. Absolutely beautiful looking sculpt. And then looking at this side again, some more really nice color variation, beautiful sculpt. As we lead down here into the body, you can once again pick out the shoulder blade a little bit there, and lots of color variation right in this vicinity right here. This foot sculpt and this leg sculpt looks great here. Really nice creasing in that spot, and right here as the leg kind of transitions into the body right there. And then you can see again that it has that light coloration here in the stomach region. It looks like it has some really nice sculpt on the underside of the dinosaur too. Beautiful chest portrayed there, but it's just hard to get under there because it is connected to the base and does not come off. But again, really nice muscle tone here on the rear leg in the calf region. Beautiful wash included throughout the entire thing. You can see the kneecap once again, lots of really nice skin texture. As we move down that rear leg, beautiful foot sculpt over here as well. And then we run out the length of the tail again down dragging on the ground. You can see many variations of browns and greens and stuff included to just give this a super realistic look as far as the paint scheme goes. And even the base itself, I feel like is pretty much that exact appearance that you would have seen dinosaurs kind of portrayed walking on when I was a child in books and things like that. And it's also kind of painted with like a nice dark wash, given that brown wash to bring out some of the detail quite nicely. But you can see that primarily it's like a whitish coloration or like a light tan for the color of the base. And I think it also really looks very nice and completes the scene really beautifully. I think it looks absolutely awesome on that base and just the absolute most perfect old school Brontosaurus, Apatosaurus, whichever you would like to call this figure, that I think I've ever seen. I absolutely love this figure. As far as a size goes, for a length from the tip of the base there to the dinosaur, you are looking at around the 8¼ inch range, or about 21 centimeters. And then for a height, about 4 inches or 10 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pachylovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon next to our Castagna Brontosaurus, and you can see that it is a smaller figure. It's not very large, and actually probably a little larger than an Attack Pack sized figure, but honestly, as far as like that vintage dinosaur look and having a really nice smaller sized collectible goes, you're probably not going to find any better than what you see right here before you, and hopefully these figures will give you a good idea of the size of this somewhat smaller vintage Brontosaurus. So as far as I'm concerned, this Castagna vintage Brontosaurus figure is just unbelievably nice, perfectly portraying that old school look of this dinosaur, and everything about this figure I feel like was perfectly portrayed to really show off that old school look and feel of this species. The sculpt is just awesome as far as the details go. I mean, it's not overly detailed. It's not super highly detailed like you see on some figures nowadays. It could definitely have been improved over time if like we remade this currently, but for its time in 1990 when this figure was made, this is really impressive sculpt and detail as far as I'm concerned. But also, I think it looks honestly really nice as far as the detailing goes, but really perfectly portrays this dinosaur in this time period and was portrayed in films and books and everything like that. I think the head sculpt is gorgeous and really has that very peaceful kind of gentle giant look to it. But then as you get down into the body, it has that really nice sculpt and detail with that beautiful wash included and many different tones. And I like that the tones are all darker tones, because when this dinosaur figure was created, we weren't really under the assumption that dinosaurs were super flashy looking or really colorful like they potentially could have been. Most dinosaurs around this time period were portrayed as very dark animals, and that's exactly what you see here, but they've managed to really include quite a few different tones of color in very natural and beautiful fashion, with greens and browns and even light whites in the stomach and face and underside throughout the entire dinosaur, and I think it looks absolutely excellent as far as the paintwork goes, but again also with the sculpt, with the dinosaur's tail kind of just dragging on the ground there. It just is so perfect as far as the representation of this species from like when I was a child. It is awesome. The base as well is really nicely done. You can see it's quite beautifully detailed and quite nicely painted. There aren't too many tones of colors or anything included on the base, but what is included is definitely a really nice coloration and choice for the figure, and I think kind of plays off of the darker color of the dinosaur really well, so it kind of makes the base stand out a bit in contrast to the dinosaur, and it also has that nice dark wash just to make sure it has a few extra tones of color to it. But overall, these Castagna dinosaur models are unbelievably nice if you are a fan of the vintage dinosaur like I am, and I wanted to show you this one because honestly it might be my favorite of the group, although the Tyrannosaurus is pretty hard to beat out, but this one is a really beautiful version of the vintage Brontosaurus. So if you would like to pick this up, I will do my best to try to find you a link, probably on eBay since these are long discontinued, and I will hopefully be able to include a link in the description for you to purchase one if you do want to pick one up. But otherwise, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.